Regular golfers think the greatest players in the game hit straight shots every time. But straight shots are actually the hardest shots in golf to hit. Modern golf is about controlling predictable ball flights. Once you understand 4 core ball flights, you can unlock all 9 ball flights on command. Elite players don't change their golf swing every shot. They make small adjustments to control their trajectory, their curvature, and their starting direction. My name's TyKoon. I've been a golf professional now for almost 20 years, and I've played competitive golf all over the country. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to change your ball flight on command. In the modern launch monitor era, the best players in the game build their games with predictable shot patterns. Whether it's a small fade or a small draw is the preference of the player, being able to control a predictable curve is a lot easier than hitting it dead straight. That's why professional bowlers choose to curve a bowling ball. A perfectly straight shot requires a couple things to happen. First, the face angle has to match the path direction absolutely perfectly, and you have to control exactly where you're at on the face with the contact. If any of these 3 things is off, the golf ball is not going to curve straight. That's why elite players usually prefer seeing a very small, predictable curve. Once you stop chasing perfectly straight shots, golf actually becomes a whole lot easier. Make sure to comment below what your stock shot is right now. Every golf shot is made up of 3 simple things: starting direction, trajectory, and curvature. 85% of your starting direction with an iron is typically controlled by where the face is pointed. The swing path and its relationship with the club face is what determines curvature direction. The golf club's dynamic loft is going to determine height. You do not need different swings for each shot. You need small adjustments in order to adjust the ball flight on command. If you're serious about improving your golf game, you need to have a stock shot. This shot is a lot like your home base. It is the one shot you are really good at. That under pressure you trust the most and can pull off better than any other shot in the game. Your stock shot can be any direction and any trajectory. It's just the one that's extremely predictable. For me, my stock shot is a very tiny draw, and when I'm playing good, this is the only shot I hit. I only adjust it if I have something in my way or I'm trying to curve it back into the wind. My stock draw places a golf ball 3 golf balls behind my left armpit with my grip aligned from the face on view towards that lead armpit. That's going to give the appearance that my left arm and my club shaft are in alignment. My club face, because it is 85% of my starting direction, is lined up between 2 and 3 degrees to the right of the target. This setup allows my swing path to stay between 4 and 5 degrees inside out and produces a really tiny draw. Make sure to stay with me so that you can see how these 4 core shots are going to help unlock all 9 ball flight trajectories. So what if I want to draw it more? If I'm behind a tree and I've got to curve the ball around it just to get it up near the green, I have to know how to adjust. When I want to draw the ball more, there's a couple positions that I make with my setup. First and foremost is I'm going to move the ball slightly back in my stance. So instead of playing the ball at 3 balls behind my shoulder, usually going to play it around 4, maybe 5, depending on how big I need the curve. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to push the handle forward more so that the grip end of the club actually points outside my shoulder, and that's going to open the face to the right just a little bit. Now that's going to start the ball further right, but because the handle's pushed forward, that's going to project my swing path to be slightly more inside out and help me curve the ball from right to left with a lot less effort. This setup adjustment changes the face to path relationship so that the face is more closed to the path. We're not flipping it or excessively rolling the face shut to hit your draw. we're presetting it at address so that we don't have to do any of that. A fade is going to do the exact same thing, only the other direction. We're going to make a couple setup adjustments, but I use a fade anytime I have to go around an object. When you change from a draw to a fade, the ball will always fly shorter. Open the face to the path, we typically add a little bit of loft, and you increase spin loft. When I want to play a fade, the couple setup adjustments that I make is I move the ball just a little bit forward in my stance, and instead of pointing the handle in front of my shoulder, I actually make sure that it is straight up and down or even slightly back in my stance. This is just gonna help preset the club path to be a little bit more out to in instead of in to out. My last adjustment is I take my setup and I align myself with my turns, my feet, my hips, my shoulders, about 10 degrees to the left. And this is just to allow me to get my swing path moving more out to in with a lot less effort. So I'm curious, which do you feel more confident with, a draw or a fade? Once you know you can curve the ball left and curve the ball right, now we can modify that trajectory and help you hit it high, low, or somewhere in between. When I want to hit one higher, I do move the ball about half to a full ball forward in my stance. So if my stock shot is 3 balls behind my armpit, I'm going to move it to about 2 or 2.5. My club shaft is still going to point at the same spot. When I take my setup, as I'm going to actually lower my handle just a little bit. What lowering the handle is going to do is it's going to help my left wrist sit a little bit more hinged, and it's going to help me maintain a little bit more loft on the club to help me hit it higher. That adjustment alone can be the difference in hitting a shot that peaks at 95 feet and a shot that peaks at 110. The difference in 15 feet of ball flight for my 7-iron is about 3 degrees of landing angle, and depending on the greens and how firm they are and fast they are, that can be the difference in a ball stopping or going all the way to the back of the green or even over the green, making it harder for me to make birdie and giving me almost an impossible up and down for par. Most golfers, when they think of release, they only think about releasing the club head laterally, which is usually going to close the club face if they're a slicer. Tour pros, when they want to hit it higher, generally release the club more vertically while keeping the face pointed up in the air slightly, not down to the ground. This maintains the loft on the club and helps them launch it higher. When we want to hit it lower, setup adjustment from my normal ball position, instead of it being 3 balls back, it's usually only going to move about 1 ball back. So I'm going to move that to a 4th ball behind my lead shoulder. I'm going to move the handle just a little bit forward, similar to what I would do if I wanted to play a slightly bigger draw. The biggest difference here is my release in the follow through is I never want to let that club head pass my hands. I am trying to keep the club head behind me as much as I can to lower the dynamic loft and help the ball come out lower. That's where everybody gets the flighted sawed-off iron shot look when they're trying to hit a low shot. This is how golfers hit the stinger. I would do the same thing slower if I was hitting a low punch out from under the trees. The ability to hit a low running shot up to about 100 yards is one of the greatest recovery shots that you can have in your arsenal when you're playing good golf. Now, low shots are really, really good when you're into the wind, just because it keeps the ball from getting up in the air and ballooning. So we would want to take more club and learn how to hit the ball lower to make it penetrate through the wind so that it can at least get there. Once you understand how to draw it, how to fade it, how to hit it high, how to hit it low, you can combine them all to hit all 9 trajectories. This is how elite golfers navigate golf courses, by making sure that they control windows to hit the ball where they want to go. But keep in mind, they're always going to usually fall back to their stock shot and only change it if they absolutely have to. We've got trees in front of us on the right and a pin tucked to the right with bunkers short. As we can see, I have 158 yards to the front of the green, 196 to the back, and I have this mid to low window. So I instantly know to get around this tree that I have to be mid to low. That cuts off anything high. If I want to get it close to the green, middle of the green or over by the pin, I have to cut it. With that said, now I have a low cut or a mid cut or fade that I can play golf with. My aiming point comes out to be at that bunker. I am very content with hitting the ball in that bunker. If I can get it to cut and miss that bunker to the right, then it gets up on the green and I give myself an opportunity to make a putt or two putt at worst. Understanding these launch windows is what we want to look for when we're talking about controlling whether we hit it high, we hit it low, and in this case, I have to fade it to get it close. If I was on the golf course and I was faced with a shot like this where I've got trees to the left, hole bends right to left, we have to hit a draw. I can hit this with any trajectory, high, mid, or low, depending on what my preferences are. If I'm trying to get this ball close to the green, if I hit this with a hard hook and the ball comes out a little bit lower, it's gonna roll as much as I can get it to, depending on the conditions that I'm playing. If I'm going high, keep in mind, even though this ball is drawing and hooking, it's going to land somewhat soft. So you have to take that into consideration when you have the ability to hit the ball on all three trajectories. Choose which one is going to work best for that shot. The high shot really comes in handy when we have a pin tucked over a bunker. In this case, you've got a finger on the right side of the green, and if we land this ball on the pin or just behind it, it bounces over. So if you can pick out the high shot here, you can get the ball to land soft and hold the green, giving yourself a much shorter birdie putt. Anytime the pin is usually in the front of the green, I'm usually always going to err on hitting it higher so that it'll land soft, versus when I get the pin that's in the back of the green, usually that's the one that I'm going to hit a little bit lower so that I can land it short and let the ball bounce towards the pin without the risk of airmailing the green, short-siding myself, and making it extremely difficult to get it up and down. The better you get at trajectory control and curve control, the easier golf courses seem to feel. Now that you understand how to control trajectory like a pro, make sure to click the link in the comments in the description below for my exact range strategy next time you go practice so that you can learn how to hit these shots on command. We'll see you guys next time on the Golf TyKoon.